5 months. That was all it took for Tom to completely transform his life. 5 months ago, he could barely speak a full sentence in English. Even simple phrases like "How are you?" made him nervous. His mind would freeze. His words would break. And every conversation felt like a battle. But today, Tom speaks English confidently with people from around the world. Not because he was naturally talented. Not because he moved to an English-speaking country. And not because he spent thousands of dollars on expensive courses. He did it using a simple system that anyone can follow. And the truth is, Tom's story might feel very familiar to you. If you have ever felt embarrassed about your English, if you have ever stayed silent in a conversation because you were afraid of making mistakes, if you have ever believed that fluency was only for smart people, then keep listening. Because Tom once stood exactly where you are now. And his journey proves something powerful. Fluency is not talent. Fluency is a process. The failure that changed everything. Tom had always dreamed of working for an international company. He was a talented software engineer. Coding was his passion. For years he studied, practiced, and built projects day and night. Finally, his hard work paid off. One morning, he opened his email and saw a message that made his heart race. Congratulations! You have been selected for an interview. The company was based in the United States. Tom could hardly believe it. This was the opportunity he had been waiting for. He imagined a new life, working with brilliant engineers, earning a great salary, building technology used around the world. But when the interview day arrived, something unexpected happened. The moment the Zoom meeting started, 3 interviewers appeared on the screen. They smiled and began speaking. But to Tom, it sounded like their voices were moving at double speed. His heart started beating faster. The first interviewer asked a simple question. Tom, can you tell us a little about yourself and your experience in software development? Tom knew the answer. He had prepared it many times in his head. But when he opened his mouth, the words disappeared. Yes. I am software, coding, many projects. I am very good. The silence that followed felt unbearable. The interviewers looked at each other politely. They asked another question. But Tom froze again. A few minutes later, one of them smiled and said, "All right, Tom, thank you for your time." The meeting ended. And Tom knew exactly what it meant. He had failed. Not because he lacked skills. Not because he lacked intelligence. But because he couldn't communicate in English. That night, he sat alone in his room thinking about what had happened. For years he had told himself something comforting. I don't really need English. My technical skills are enough. But now he understood the truth. Without English, his opportunities were limited. Without English, he couldn't share his ideas with the world. Without English, the doors he dreamed about would remain closed. That night, Tom made a decision that changed everything. He would learn English. And he would learn it fast. A different approach. Most people begin learning English by doing one thing first. They sign up for expensive courses. Tom had already tried that before. A year earlier, he had paid for an online English class. The teacher made students memorize long vocabulary lists, complete grammar exercises, and study complicated rules. After 3 months, Tom still couldn't hold a conversation. He realized something important. The problem wasn't effort. The problem was the method. If he wanted to become fluent, he needed a system based on real communication, not classroom theory. So he created his own 5-month learning plan. And it began with the simplest step of all. Phase 2, real speaking practice. After 15 days, Tom noticed a major improvement. He could form simple sentences without translating. But he wanted more. He wanted real conversations. So he introduced a new system called the question-answer method. Every day, Tom asked himself simple questions in English. Then he answered them immediately. At first, his answers were short. Question: What did you do today? Answer: I worked. But he forced himself to add more details. I worked on my project. I worked on my project for 3 hours. I worked on my project for 3 hours and then took a break. This small exercise trained his brain to expand ideas naturally. Within a few weeks, his speaking speed increased dramatically. His sentences became longer, and the fear of speaking slowly disappeared. The echo technique. Pronunciation was still a challenge. Even when Tom spoke clearly, his accent felt heavy. So he discovered something called the echo technique. Every day, he listened to short clips from movies, podcasts, and YouTube videos. He paused the audio after each sentence. Then he repeated the sentence exactly the same way. Same speed. Same rhythm. Same emotion. For example, when a movie character said, "I don't know what you're talking about," Tom repeated it again and again. At first, it sounded awkward. But after repeating it 10 times, something changed. His voice began sounding closer to the original. This daily practice slowly reshaped his pronunciation. After a month, people began noticing. "Your English sounds much more natural," they told him. Learning vocabulary through stories. Tom also discovered that memorizing word lists didn't work. So he created a new method. Every day he chose 5 new words. Instead of memorizing them, he created a short story using all 5. For example, words: excited, invitation, party, arrive, surprise. Story: I was very excited because I received an invitation to a party. When I arrived, I got a big surprise. It was actually my birthday celebration. He read the story out loud 10 times. This method helped him remember words naturally. After 3 months, he had learned more than 1,000 new words without memorization. The breakthrough. Something incredible began happening. Tom stopped translating sentences in his head. English ideas appeared automatically. To strengthen this ability, he trained his mind to think in English. Whenever he walked outside, he described the world around him. The sky is blue. The weather is hot. That man is wearing a red shirt. These tiny exercises rewired his brain. English slowly became his natural thinking language. The final test. 5 months after starting his journey, Tom felt different. One evening he looked at himself in the mirror and began speaking in English. But this time something surprising happened. He didn't hesitate. He didn't translate. The words flowed smoothly. It felt almost magical. But in reality, it was simply the result of daily practice. Soon after, Tom joined an online conversation group with people from different countries. At first he felt nervous, but he reminded himself how far he had come. Then he spoke. And for the first time, he spoke confidently. People listened. They responded. They asked him questions. That was the moment he realized something powerful. He was no longer the person who froze during conversations. He was someone who could communicate. The moment that proved everything. 5 months after his failure, Tom applied for the same company again. This time the interview felt completely different. He sat down calmly. When the interviewer asked questions, he answered clearly. He explained his projects confidently. He spoke naturally. A few days later, the phone rang. "Tom, congratulations. You got the job." His salary would be $5,000 a month. More money than he had ever imagined earning. But the real reward wasn't the salary. It was the transformation. From someone who once felt invisible to someone who could share his ideas with the world. The final lesson. Tom's journey teaches us something powerful. Learning English is not about talent. It is not about expensive courses. And it is not about memorizing endless grammar rules. It is about 3 simple things: consistency, practice, and belief in yourself. If you practice every day, if you speak even when it feels uncomfortable, if you keep moving forward one step at a time, then one day you will realize something amazing. The language that once felt impossible has become the language that carries your voice to the world.